You know what most people mess up on? They spend way too much time worried about everybody else. Worried about who's watching them, worried about who's talking about them, worried about who's doubting them. They get so distracted by the noise, they forget to tune into the most important frequency. If you want to go somewhere in life, you've got to learn this lesson right here. Focus on yourself and stay silent while you do it. That's the real key. Not everybody deserves to know your plan. Not everybody deserves to hear your next move. And not everybody is built to understand your vision. You've got to protect it. You've got to protect your peace, your energy, and your future. The way you do that is by locking in on your grind and letting your results do the talking. The problem is people want recognition before they've earned it. They want applause before they've put in the work. They want validation from the world without proving anything to themselves. That's backwards. Real success doesn't come from what you post or what you tell people. Real success comes from what you build in the dark when nobody's watching. People don't need to hear about every step you're taking. They'll see it when it shows up. But if you spend all your time announcing instead of working, you'll stay stuck. It's not about what you say. It's about what you do. Think about a seed. When it's in the ground, you don't hear a sound. You don't hear it breaking open. You don't hear it stretching its roots. You don't hear it pushing through the soil. But it's working. It's growing. It's silent, but it's powerful. One day, that little seed turns into a tree, strong and undeniable. That's how your life should be. Grind in silence. Work in silence. When the time comes, people won't be able to deny the fruit you bear. That's what silence does. It gives you space to grow without interruption. See, silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody. You don't have to defend yourself against every critic. You don't have to respond to every insult. When you know where you're going, you don't stop to argue with people who don't even see the road. Think about it. When you're driving to a destination, you don't pull over every time somebody yells at you from the sidewalk. You keep driving because you know where you're headed. That's focus. That's discipline. That's power. Another thing silence does is protect your energy. If you talk too much about your dreams, you give people the chance to plant doubt in your mind. Some people can't see what you see, and because they can't, they'll try to convince you it can't be done. Not because it's impossible, but because they gave up on themselves. And if you listen to them long enough, you'll start doubting yourself too. That's why it's dangerous to share everything. Some people don't want you to grow, because your growth reminds them of where they stop. They'll try to clip your wings before you even take off. But if you stay silent, if you stay focused, there's nothing they can do to stop you. You've got to stop living for validation. Stop measuring your progress by who claps for you. Stop waiting for someone to say you're good enough. When you focus on yourself, you realize the only approval you really need is your own. You stop chasing likes, comments, and applause, and you start chasing growth, progress, and results. You start competing with the person you were yesterday, not with the person standing next to you. That's how real winners think. They're not concerned with who's ahead or behind. They're concerned with being better than they were last time. I'll tell you something else. You can't grow and gossip at the same time. You can't climb and complain at the same time. You can't shine and argue at the same time. Energy is limited. Where you put it matters. If you're always in somebody else's business, who's taking care of yours? If you're always responding to negativity, how can you build positivity? If you're always talking about what you're going to do, when do you actually get around to doing it? Focus is the difference. The people who win, they use their energy wisely. They put it into the grind, not the gossip. They put it into the climb, not the complaints. It's like this success is a marathon. You're not going to see results overnight. You're not going to hit the jackpot instantly. It's small, consistent steps every single day. But that's where silence comes in. While other people are looking for instant attention, you're building lasting success. While they're bragging about what they're going to do, you're working on it. While they're showing off, you're showing up. And little by little, the gap between you and them gets bigger. Not because you shouted louder, but because you worked harder. And let me tell you, there will always be critics. There will always be doubters. There will always be people waiting for you to fail. But here's the beauty of silence. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them explanation. You don't owe them details. You don't owe them access. The less they know, the less they can use against you. The less you expose, the more you protect. Sometimes the best clapback isn't words. It's success. Sometimes the best revenge is staying focused, staying silent, and letting your results speak louder than any argument ever could. So stop telling everybody everything. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who don't even matter. Stop letting distractions steal your attention. Lock in on your vision. Trust your process. Work when nobody's watching. Move in silence. Grow like that seed in the ground. And when your time comes, when your results show up, when your success breaks through, everybody will see it. Not because you told them, not because you begged for recognition, but because focus and silence made you undeniable. Everybody wants to win, but not everybody is willing to do what it takes to win. We live in a world where people are louder than ever, where everybody wants to show what they're doing, prove what they got, and announce every little move. But let me tell you something I've learned: the real players, the real winners, the ones who actually build something lasting, they know how to focus on themselves and stay silent. They're not trying to impress everybody. They're not trying to explain every move. They're not trying to live for applause. They're too busy working on their craft, too busy building their dream, too busy becoming the person God created them to be. See, silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. Silence is strategy. If you're always talking, always telling everybody your next step, you leave your vision open for attack. Not everybody wants to see you win. Not everybody clapping for you is really clapping for you. Some people smile in your face, but deep down, they're waiting on you to fail. That's why you don't need to give everybody access to your plans. You've got to protect your vision the way you protect a newborn baby. It's fragile in the beginning, and too much exposure can kill it before it grows. When you focus on yourself, you take your power back. You stop wasting energy on who's doubting you, who's gossiping about you, who's criticizing you. You realize something powerful. Most of the people talking about you are too busy talking because they're not busy doing. They're not chasing dreams. They're not building legacies. They're not sharpening their gifts. They're sitting on the sidelines with opinions while you're out here in the game making moves. Why give them your attention? Why feed them your energy? Why explain yourself to somebody who isn't even running their own race? You've got to lock in. You've got to build discipline. Because when you're truly focused, distractions lose their power. When you're focused, you're not checking who's clapping. You're checking your own progress. When you're focused, you're not asking, who believes in me? You're asking, did I do better than yesterday? That's the difference between people who talk about success and people who actually live it. Think about an athlete training for a championship. They're not posting every workout, every meal, every drill. They're grinding in silence. They're building endurance, sharpening skills, developing discipline. And when the big moment comes, when the lights are on and the crowd is watching, their performance speaks louder than words ever could. That's how your life should be. Train in silence, work in silence, then let your success shine in the open. Now, silence also protects your peace. The truth is, not everybody is equipped to handle your dream. You might tell the wrong person, and they'll laugh at you. You might share with somebody who doesn't believe in themselves, and they'll convince you it can't be done. Sometimes it's not even hate. It's just limited thinking. People will put their limits on you if you let them. But if you keep quiet, if you keep your dreams safe, you won't give them that chance. You'll keep your energy pure, your vision clear, your focus sharp. Another powerful thing happens when you focus on yourself. You stop chasing validation. You stop living for other people's approval. You stop caring about who likes you or who doesn't. You realize that the only validation you need is from God and from yourself. That's freedom. Because once you stop trying to please everybody else, you start pleasing the person in the mirror. You stop competing with the crowd, and you start competing with your own potential. And that's the game changer. Now let me say this: growth is quiet. A seed doesn't make noise when it breaks through the soil. A flower doesn't announce when it blooms. Growth happens silently, but it's powerful. Don't think that just because nobody's clapping for you right now, you're not making progress. Don't think that just because nobody sees your late nights and early mornings, they don't matter. Every bit of silent work you put in is building something greater. It may not be visible today, but it's coming. You've also got to understand that silence is not about hiding. It's about building strength. When you hold back from arguing, from proving yourself, from showing off, you conserve energy. You save that energy for the grind, for the discipline, for the long run. That's why some people burn out. They're too busy trying to prove themselves instead of improving themselves. If you put all that energy into growth instead of gossip, into purpose instead of proving, into building instead of bragging, you'd be shocked at how far you can go. Let me break it down plain and simple. Focus means narrowing your attention to what really matters. Silence means protecting that focus from unnecessary noise. Together, they create a formula for growth that can't be stopped. You can't argue with results. You can't deny consistent work. You can't ignore undeniable success. And that's what silence and focus give you. the ability to let your life speak for itself. So keep your head down, keep working, keep moving in silence. People will talk. People will doubt. People will criticize. Let them. None of that stops you unless you give it your energy. What matters is what you do, what you build, who you become. Stay locked in on that. And one day, the same people who ignored you will ask how you did it. The same people who doubted you will ask for advice. The same people who tried to stop you will have no choice but to respect you,